Hey guys, Stevie here. I played in the most recent remote YCS, and I tried to just play a bunch of Genesys side events to just have fun, meet some new friends, steal some techs, blah 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 blah. And I did horribly on day one. I could not win a single round, which was just horrible. It was without a doubt the worst performance I've ever had at any event ever. So I was ready to pack it up and, just like spend Sunday doing whatever I do on Sunday. And my friend Rob convinced me last minute to play the giant card. I'm like, okay, fine. And thanks to me running around San Francisco at like 11 p.m. picking up cards, I built Gem Knights and I took it to the event and I got second place. Lost in the finals. Sometimes your opponent just god hands you twice. That's Yu-Gi-Oh! I god handed my opponents a lot of times. Overall, it was a really fun experience. It was really fun. It was an interesting development of opinions in regards to how I feel about Genesys overall. But I want to give you guys a quick little deck breakdown, some things I would change, and of course my final thoughts on Genesys, at least as of December 8th, which is when I'm recording this. So, let's get into the deck profile. Wow, look at all that purple. Anyways, it's Gem Knight. It's nothing really that much interesting, but this is effectively what I took to the event. I'll give you guys the quick little breakdown, why I decided to choose the deck, and of course the card by card. And we'll do a little more of a less deck profile where I just kind of explain each and every single card, where this is less of a tutorial and more of a idea breakdown for what I wanted to bring to Genesys and why I did so. So I'm not going to be reading off like, this card is good because you can normal summon it, and more just specifically like why I decided to play these cards and the specific synergies that this deck had within the format. Okay, so first of all, why did I decide Gem Knight? Gem Knight is really fucking good. This deck is probably one of the strongest engines at just killing someone out of nowhere, both in the TCG and in Genesys. One of the big problems this deck has in Genesys, though, is that you're missing about two cards. You are missing Phantom Quartz, which is... this card is just crack cocaine. This card provides a search and a fusion and a way to get materials back into your deck. And secondly, you don't have Master Diamond. I mean, like, you do, but it's a lot worse because this card is 66 points and you would much rather spend that point total on anything else. So it does make OTK a bit more difficult. It's not as straightforward as it is in the TCG. But as a result, with a little bit of creative deck building and sequencing, you are able to get a little saucy with it. And this is the sort of compensation that I figured out in order to get there. So let's just get into the card by card. We've got the starters. We've got triple Nephirim, double Gem Armadillo. The reason why you played 3 in the TCG rather than just 2 like you are in Genesys is because Gem Armadillo is able to convert into your Phantom Quartz. Phantom Quartz is a lot more deadly in the TCG, where you are able to just nuclear bomb your opponent with like a 1-card combo where you just get 2 gems and you blow someone up. But because Gem Armadillo doesn't actually read like it should, it's very weird. Because Nephirim is basically just Gem Armadillo, but it allows you to search Dispersion, which is a fusion spell. It allows you to get an additional normal, so you can get additional bodies. There are a lot of things that Nephirim provides that Armadillo unfortunately doesn't, but Armadillo does just say search Quartz or Hollow Core or Nephirim, so, I mean, good enough. We'll play it at 2, because we don't want to overload on normal summons, and seeing any of these cards in multiples does make you want to shoot yourself. We're on triple Quartz. You said Brilliant Fusion, Scatter, and win the game. You play Hollow Core. This card is very interesting in Genesys. It's really, really good in the TCG because you're able to just immediately link off the Hollow Core to get into the graveyard so that it's online. However, in Genesys, we don't have link monsters. So the main way how you're getting Hollow Core to the graveyard is you are special summoning it off of its hand effect, and you're using a Gem Knight Dispersion to fuse into Master Diamond Dispersion or something like Lady Brilliant Diamond, and you're using the Hollow Core on board as one of the materials, and you are sending something like you're sending like Nephirim Quartz. So this is acting more as like a weird branded fusion instead of just, an FTK card. Instead of just like a weird, instead of just like an extender to make like Lady Rose and just get some materials off. We're on Triple Dispersion. This card serves a much bigger and way more important role in Genesys in regards to it being a fusion spell. Turns out it's kind of hard to get those. It's kind of hard to get those fusion effects because we don't have Phantom Quartz and additional ways to search it, but whatever. One thing I want to note real fast is that although Gem Knight Nephrim and Gem Armadillo are technically like one-card combos, the same way they are in the TCG, there is no actual one card. It's mainly just 2 cards in Genesys, because again, we don't have Phantom Quartz, so we don't have a way to access fusion. So we don't have a way to access fusions the same way we are in the TCG, because we're not able to turn on Dispersion by itself and get the Holocores to the grave, and we're not able to just like one card itself. You have to be able to open a way to a monster and a fusion spell. And obviously if you open Brilliant Fusion or Scatter Fusion and resolve it, then like, sure, congratulations, you're the GOAT. But this deck does require a little bit more finesse than you may be used to comparative to the TCG. Okay, so we're on 1 Brilliant Fusion. This card says win the game. We're on double Scatter Fusion. You play 2 because you kind of need it. You play 1 Gem Knight Fusion because this card sucks. We're not playing the Vanillas because those cards also suck. And we're on the Shaddoll package. We're on 1 Shaddoll Genius, we're on 1 Shaddoll Dragon, and we're on triple Shaddoll Fusion. This deck has a pretty important lack of starters. Not specifically in the sense where you don't really have good starters, but you don't have a high concentration of them, and unless you're opening exactly Nephrim or Dispersion, your ability to get high level, like high impact plays going is pretty limited. Like, yes, you can play things like Vingolf's Blessing, but those cards are a lot more weak relative to how ideally you want those cards to be functioning. Like, Vingolf's Blessing effectively is just Foolish Burial, which is fine, but it lacks the synergy that you want to be playing with it because you're not able to like reliably send it off of something like Forbidden Droplet. You'd have to like Prismora pop it, or pop it with like Tornado Dragon. Overall, Shaddoll Fusion allows for way higher impact plays that are able to just destroy boards on their own. I decided Neshaddoll and Shaddoll Dragon because Neshaddoll is Imperm and Shaddoll is MST. It's just the easiest way to split the difference. But you do want to be playing 2 because you have to use 1 in order to send, and having another one to send is just nice. Anyways, here is all the non-engine. It's a lot. Triple Droll. This card is mandatory in this format. If you do not play Droll, you are going to lose a lot more games. Droll is a very ugly part of this format that I'll get into a bit more later, so just keep that in mind. We're on triple Purulia. I was deciding whether or not I wanted to save points by playing Fuolos or Purulia, because 9 points is actually a lot. If I cut this for Fuolos, I would be given 10 extra points to play, and that allows for actually a lot of cards. You could play stuff like Dissipator, which is actually makeable with the Herald and like 2 4s. You can play things like Dugaris. There are a lot of 10-pointed cards that are very, very nice that you do want to just play in general. But Fuolos is not live versus every deck, and some decks in this format do not need to push into Fuolos the same way they do in the TCG, because in the TCG the ceiling is much higher, and your ability to get one OTK'd out of nowhere is way, way higher relative to Genesys. Purulia is a card that answers the 2 biggest problems, which is Automat and Radiant Typhoon. Those 2 decks are probably the best decks within the room, and those decks all must special from hand. You are able to make half boards with Automat, but Automat can play out of the hand and graveyard very easily. Think of things like Automata Kage or the Gaga Knights. Radiant Typhoon does not even have to really go into its extra deck stuff. Like, they don't have to make Totem Bird or Sakata Cave. They could just end on like the red bird and like the blue cloud. They could just end on those and a bunch of back row and then just like blow you out. However, both of those decks have to commit those materials from the hand. And when you are playing Purulia, it forces them to either actually pass their turn on nothing or give you a bunch of draws. I only drew Purulia like once at the event, but again, in that event, I was against the Radiant Typhoon Automat slop deck, and it gave me a bunch of draws. I still lost that game, but I won the match. But I still think my theory for Purulia is correct in regards to Genesys. This is probably one of the best hand traps in this current format, in my opinion. We're on triple Nibiru. This card is mainly there to just stop evil decks. It's very, very descriptive. But Nibiru is such a high impact hand trap that most decks just fundamentally cannot play through, especially if they're a bit lower powered. Especially because most decks are not able to actually end on a negate, which is pretty relevant. And now, the degenerate stuff. We're on triple Keldo, triple Mudora, and triple Herald of the Orange Light. These cards allow you to access rank 4 tool lock stuff, as well as act as, you know, like pseudo hand trap interruption. There's no super easy way to get rid of it out of your hand on like your opponent's turn, outside of exactly Herald, but they're very good. It's very hard to describe just how good the utility of having the shufflers is, but if you play this format, you will know that there is just a lot of random effects that involve the graveyard in some capacity. Think of like the Radiant Typhoon trap card. Think of your opponent detaching off of like Gaga Girl to search, and you could like chain one of your shufflers to shuffle back like the Automata Kage and like the Dododo Dwarf, the Go Goblinberg or the Dododo Dwarf, in order to like make it so that they don't get the search. You are able to put back like Fire King cards. There are a lot of things that the shufflers do provide in terms of just extremely high quality of life. Additionally, one of the cool things that these cards do is give you materials back. Again, because this deck doesn't have Phantom Quartz, as soon as your monsters are like in the graveyard, they're kind of stuck there forever. And because you play a pretty low monster count, if you are like trying to extend to like get through that final push, sometimes you run out of materials in deck. So like if your last card is Brilliant Fusion, but you have like 5 gems in graveyard already, you're like, ah shit, I don't have anything. So you just sometimes shuffle them back with your own fairies, which is very, very important. Herald of the Orange Light is Cyframe Gamba. Why wouldn't we play it? We play so many fairies, and by so many I mean we play 12. Obviously pitching like Quartz is something you don't really want to do, but pitching something like Orange Light, pitch Keldo, or the Shufflers, FTK combo. You want to know an actual FTK combo? Orange Light, pitch Nephrim. Holy hell. Extra deck. We're on Aquamarine, it bounces. We're on Lady Brilliant Diamond, she cheats one out of the extra deck. We're on Lady Rose Diamond, she's a girl, she's just a girl. We're on Gemini Master Diamond Dispersion, this card says win the game when you resolve it. We're on Prismora, this card says pop a card. We're on Ruby, this guy's for piercing. We're on Seraph Knight, this guy says additional normal. We're on Topaz, he says OTK. One of the big things that you will be doing a lot in this deck, summon your Aquamarine, crash it into a guy, and in the damage step, you're able to like chain link 1, revive Diamond Dispersion, chain link 2, Aquamarine, bounce something. It's something that I actually did in one of my matches versus Memento, and they tried to like use their Memento guy to like revive, and I'm like, not today. Sorry, deactivated the damage step. Mystic Tomato. We're on one El Shaddoll construct. She's just here to be like our Shaddoll fusion slut. She sends people. We've got Tornado Dragon, we've got Giant Hand, and we've got Light Dragon Attic Mister. Tornado Dragon was just the best rank 4 for back row. We're on Giant Hand because it's a negate, it's good enough. And we're on Light Dragon Attic Mister, not really for a cleanup tool, but mainly to give us an edge versus Lunalight and Fire King Jarak. Those are 2 decks that can basically just ruin everything that we're trying to do, and being able to go into Light Dragon Attic Mister is, as just like the haha, here's my epic win con, is very, very cool. We're on one, and because we're playing Ultimate Slayer, we're on 1 Garula, 1 Malong, and 1 Aggregator. Into the side deck, we're on triple DD Crow. This card is fine, whatever. We're on triple Twin Twister. This card is like fine, whatever. We're on triple Ultimate Slayer. This card was garbage, by the way. This card is very, very weird in the sense where it is a board breaker that gives you some amount of upside, whether it be like an additional interrupt or an additional pop or like an additional something. It does something. But the problem is that it's just not very high impact. It's just not good enough. Every time I drew Ultimate Slayer in this event or in past events, I always wished it was something else. Like there was a game where I sided out like a shuffler for Ultimate Slayer, and I opened a hand of like Orange Light Ultimate Slayer, and I'm like, wow, I really wish I had that shuffler all of a sudden. It's just that Ultimate Slayer can feel like a very easy include into side decks, into decks that are not already playing a bunch of stuff in their extra deck that's very mandatory. But in my opinion, you should just be using that space to help fix corner cases within your deck, or try to like maybe smokescreen into something, or maybe play additional redundancy rather than just kind of play a bad card that's just bait. We're on triple Mistaken Arrest. This card was broken. This card should be like 33 points or 100. Honestly, just ban this card. And we're on triple Final Bringer of the End Times. This card was like fine. This card is just Ultimate Slayer feels like actually good because you are able to do it on like your own turn. One of the cool things you can do is like Final Bringer of the End Times, target your own Aquamarine and your opponent's card, and then the Aquamarine, because it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you like bounce a card. It's kind of like an IP SP scenario. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed this card. And finally, my like final thoughts about the format. These are gonna come kind of like off the top of my head and just kind of be like a little bit of a riffraff that I've definitely repeated myself in other videos. But 1, Droll and Lockbird makes me want to shoot myself. Both on the receiving end and using it. Sometimes this card feels like it does literally nothing against certain decks. Gem Knight is a very good example for why I decided to play this deck, because we don't really care about getting drolled, because unlike in the TCG, we only use this card as like a fusion spell for the most part. And versus like Radiant Typhoon, if they already open like a line to Crocy and they already have like 2 engrave, then congratulations buddy, you just got fucked. But Droll also creates very unfun game states where a player just feels like they're just fucked. They can't do anything. You can't search, you can't extend, you can't play. In my Memento match, I drolled them both games, and they just made like the saddest board possible because I fucking drolled them. They just couldn't do anything. That deck relies on very specific searching off of its spells and monsters, and when you neuter that, it makes them want to claw their hair out. So droll, definitely very, very frustrating. I think the droll should be pointed at the same amount of points as like Perulia, absolutely minimum, because at 30 points, it'll make you have to actually like put in real thought in regards to the cards that you want to be slotting in for droll, at least in regards to like a card that should be in the format in some capacity, but not so free use that you are able to just slot into anything with no consideration. Secondly, Radiant Typhoon is disgusting. I mentioned this in a previous video, or a video that's going to come out in the future, but decks with 0 points that are able to abuse modern deck building principles and sort of like generic staple cards that naturally synergize with them are gonna be the most degenerate, unfun things about Genesys. Vanquish Soul did that by abusing a bunch of hand traps. They were playing stuff like Ash Blossom main. They were playing like Rescue Ace Impulse. They were playing just a bunch of shit. They were just playing a bunch of hand traps in the main deck, and that is why that deck was so oppressive for like those couple of Genesys events. However, now we're sort of reliving that experience with Radiant Typhoon. Radiant Typhoon has the similar issue where instead of you're playing a bunch of power hand traps, you're playing a lot of power quick play spells. Think of things like Forbidden Droplet, Forbidden Chalice, Fallen and the Virtuous. You are playing just so much degenerate stuff, and the fact that Mirage of Nightmare of all things is at 0 points does make me in fact want to shoot myself. There are some decks in this format that are doing unfair things, but the fact that those decks are kind of, you know, again, pie in the sky, like Onomot FTK Wombo combo, that's just like whatever, who gives a shit. But stuff like Mirage of Nightmare and like deep drawing for all of your like broken quick plays, as well as being able to like set up a pretty decent board of like maybe 2 negates and 2 spins alongside like whatever like rank 3s you decide to go into, that is where things definitely get a little too far, especially when you consider this deck, you know, doesn't lose resources because you're refilling your hand every single turn with your quick plays or your monsters and your Mirage of Nightmares, or you're popping with your all in all, fix Droll and Lockbird, fix modern decks so that they're not you know, just released full power into Genesys and I have to deal with this bullshit every single event. And give me Master Diamond to a lower amount of points, please. I would appreciate that a lot. I'll be sure to use my oversized Allure of Darkness as like a placemat to eat my Chipotle on. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.